Carrie?
One more second, it's taking its time. There
Okay.
you go. All right, 401 and you're live.
And I see we have someone by phone number. Could you
Yes.
identify yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Joanne Bragignier from Catholic Charities Housing.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
Let's call the roll and start our meeting.
Chair Merzick,
You here?
Commissioner Palmer, Commissioner Livermore, I can see you, but you're muted, Phil.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Levinson,
Where did you go?
her call dropped, she'll be back. And
Okay,
Councilmember Drennan.
thank you. And would you again state your name for the clerk, just so we have you in the record?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Joanne Bragignier from Catholic Charities.
Okay, would you just spell your last name so we can have you in the record?
Sure. Sure. It's B as in boy, Ragionier.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We'll start with approval. Actually, Carrie, I didn't get a copy of the minutes from either our December 3rd meeting or our December 10th meeting.
Okay. We can
So,
hold them until next month.
So that's okay. Let's hold those off until next meeting. We'll approve them then. So we can go right into our agenda. And yes, we have documentation from your appeal for 22. Let me just get that out. Where did I do it? 22 State Street.
State Street, yes.
Right. And we require, because of the type of fire alarm system you have, we require it to be inspected by a licensed electrician. And the documentation that you provided us did not have that identification.
Okay.
So
I'm confused.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the first time that I'm hearing this. We've always done it in-house, as our facilities director does it under his auspices. I've never been told that we have to have a licensed electrician to do it. We have our electrical inspection, which is completed, and you should have it. But these are the smoke and heat detector alarm certifications.
Right.
And we have never, before today, we have never been required to have that particular piece done by an electrician.
The form that you provided had just a scribble and no name on it. So it wasn't possible for us to know who it was.
I resent that form in December with Charles Rockwell, who is our executive director, put his name in type and his underneath it. And I sent that to John Hester and Joe Schaffler, and they said that they had received it. So I assumed that that went in the record.
We haven't received a copy of it, but but John is here with us. So I will let him speak on that. And Joe, so is Joe. So it's Joe or John, you want to speak up?
Yeah, I'm looking here for it in I see the smoking, but I don't know, maybe it hasn't got put in yet. I know they did the more extensive inspection. Where is that? It should be right there. Yeah, they did do an up-to-date inspection where they actually had, I believe either firefighter or one of his guys that worked for him actually went in and did the alarm inspection. And with that, they do the smokes and the whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
What date was that?
It was in December. I think it was after they found out that with this, we weren't accepting the smoke detector form by itself.
When did that change?
Pardon?
When did that change?
Well, I think it's just one of them that it's been that way, Joanne, and it just never got, caught type thing, if that makes any sense. Let me get here, see if I can look at another spot. Sorry.
Oh, here is the report from the 29th of December.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you do have that. Okay, that's it's in the.
But this is for, this is not for the certification. Am I correct about that, John and Joe?
Oh, is this just the one?
Marge, I'm looking at the record right now.
Okay, can I speak?
Yes.
Okay, the one that I received the notice for that said that we needed to, that I appealed was the smoke, heat, and alarm certification. And I'm looking at the paperwork and it says this inspection is to be completed by the property owner or a licensed electrician. Charlie Rockwell is our owner's representative and did the inspection, and that's the paperwork I submitted. The electrical, the actual fire alarm inspection was done on December 29th, but the smoke, heat, and detector alarm certification was done in August. And I was under the understanding that that was what the original violation that I appealed was for, because that's dated from 9/30.
That's correct.
Okay,
So,
so we wouldn't have had to have a license, we would have had to have the building owner and McCluskey. Charlie is the president of McCluskey, or executive director of McCluskey, and he's the one that does the inspection. So I felt we met criteria with that. Otherwise, I'm totally confused.
well, there are a couple of things. Don't be confused.
Okay,
In this latest inspection, it was discovered that the type of panel you have isn't one that can be certified by in-house. Because it's a panel, it's not just a smoke alarm. However, that would be going forward. That really doesn't have anything to do with this particular inspection. You're absolutely correct that the owner can certify it until we discovered that now they can't. But meanwhile, the form that we have, which was dated August 20th, 2020, didn't reach the code enforcement office until October 13th. And it was due on September 16th. And that's why you received the $341.
okay. So we'll take that just as it stands. Now, I have in my computer where I sent those forms to codes on August 20th.
Okay, if you just can.
Okay, which was the criteria. One
Do a
of
screen-
the cover sheet forms, I missed the signature. Charlie somehow missed the signature on that page.
Mhm.
Subsequently, I thought that I had resubmitted that single page that you needed because all three houses that we own were done at the same time. And I thought I believed I had resubmitted that document with his signature on it. and didn't realize that that hadn't reached the office. When I realized the error, when I got the notification, I realized the error, and at that point, which was the October date, I sent the updated form with his signature on it. I got that back stating that they couldn't read the signature, so I sent it to Charlie. Charlie typed his name and title in and resent that.
Okay,
And so that's the paper trail for that.
here's what you can do. I think we board members are prepared to make a decision on this. But what you could do is take a screenshot of what you said showed that you sent it on that day, on August 20th, and and send that to the code enforcement office so that they have that record. Going forward, I think you should, work with code. They will let you know what future inspections are going to have to look like.
Sure.
So now I'd like to turn it over to my board. Just a minute. I'd like to turn it over to my board. Do you, board members, have any questions for Ms. Bragonier? I think based on the documentation that you've sent and the fact that the inspection was done in good faith on apparently on August 20th, I would like to make a motion that we forgive this or we approve this appeal with the understanding that a screenshot will be sent to code enforcement showing that it was sent. And in the future, try to be a little bit more careful with your signatures, et cetera. And also work with code to make sure we get the right kind of inspection and not just a cursory inspection.
Absolutely.
Of course, we want your fire alarm to be working. That's my motion.
I want my fire alarm to be working
Yeah,
too.
thank you. That's
So,
my motion.
absolutely.
Board members, do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, I think Carrie, you could call the roll.
Chair Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. That means that you do need to send in that documentation to the code enforcement
They'll do
office.
that?
Do it by email. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will take
All
care
right,
of that. Thank you so very much. You all have a very good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you, Wayne.
our next item on the agenda is 1012 Forest Avenue. And the owner has not been able to attend the meeting and would like us to delay this, table it until our February meeting. So I would entertain a motion to table this till our February meeting.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Okay, thank you. I don't think we need to discuss it further. Would you like to call the roll?
Chair Mercer,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, thanks. Our next item is 28 Academy Street, but I see that Mrs. Barrett is here, Frances Barrett. And since you're here, we'll take you right away. We have received your appeal and the code enforcement office recognizes you as the new owner of this property. It's no longer, even though it's still listed on county tax forms as under your husband's name, we recognize that you're the new owner. And as a new owner, our code for administrative fees indicates that you have 6 months before fees are imposed. And of course, that didn't happen in this case because we didn't know that you were separated from your husband.
Okay.
So board members, under these circumstances, I think it would be appropriate for us to approve this appeal for these amounts and let Frances go ahead with her her ownership of the property and get up to code. I mean, you do have a job ahead of you.
I know.
And the best thing we can do is tell you to just work closely with our code enforcement office.
Okay.
You know, they need to do inspections. They need you to be up on your paperwork. I know they would very much like to work with you. And I think it would be unfortunate for us to saddle you with the errors that your husband made before you knew anything about it.
Right.
So I don't know how the board is going to vote, but I'm going to make a motion that we approve this appeal and waive the 3 fees that she's appealing. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, now is there a discussion, board members? This is kind of new information to you. I know you've reviewed all the paperwork and you've seen the transition between Mr. Stone and Frank.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I was not, didn't miss anything, that I'm not a privy to anything that we haven't been given, because I wouldn't let me stay on the meet originally.
Oh, no, oh
So
dear.
sorry about that.
No, here's the situation. Mrs. Barrett or Mrs. Stone, her husband was in charge of this property and gave Mrs. Stone no information about it. And then he left, probably at her request. And so she's now the sole owner of the property and just learning how far behind things are. And our code provides that under these circumstances, the new owner has 6 months in which to bring the property, you know, get all the inspections done. That hasn't happened. She got these bills at the end of this last year without any knowledge that they were outstanding, that these inspections were due.
Okay.
So that's the situation we find us in, and that's why I'm suggesting that we invoke the section of the code that allows a new owner to have 6 months to get the inspections all done.
And has Mrs. Stone been working with code enforcement to do that as of right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's already begun that process. In fact, that's one of the reasons she got these invoices,
Very good.
is that she started filing things, and she found out that the stuff was way overdue, and that having submitted the appropriate paperwork, then the
Yeah.
invoices started coming for
Okay.
work that her husband had not done.
Got it.
So
That's what I assumed with the dates and the letter and the everything, but I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page as everybody. Thanks.
Any additional questions about this
I have a
situation?
question.
Yes. Oh, no questions?
No question.
All right, well, if you're all good, then Carrie, go ahead.
Karen Merzick,
Yes?
Can I ask what the
Commissioner?
new date is? What is the new date she needs to have it done by?
She's completed these.
Oh, all right, okay, good, all
It
right.
just means that the work that wasn't completed in the 6 months before that's why she got the bill.
Outstanding electrical
Okay,
violations.
good. Oh, I'm up
Oh,
to
it's
date.
John, I hear something. You were just making a comment.
Have outstanding electrical violations, and the housing inspection, we haven't inspected the other unit. There was no access at the time of the inspection.
Okay, your sound isn't good at all, but I kind of heard what you were saying. And I think Ms. Barrett just needs to be in touch with you to be sure that things are up to date.
Right.
Will you be doing that?
Yes.
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 Okay. So let's continue our vote.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes,
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Ms. Barrett.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our final item is well, no, not our final. We have unsafe, which we're going to do in just a minute, is Nancy St. Clair, her property at 28 Academy Street. I happen to know Nancy, and what she's stating in her letter is true, but unfortunately it doesn't fix the fact that she didn't get her smoke detector form in. And
Hello.
I don't know how you feel about, I mean, I don't think
Marge,
she's claiming any.
Marge, her son
Yes.
is on with us. Ray Rogers. I don't know if you
Yes.
see that on your screen.
Oh, hi, Mr. Rogers.
He's
It's
in-
nice
Hi,
to
how
meet
you doing?
He's
Great.
Nice
I
to
know
meet
your
you too.
mom. Yeah, it's really nice to have you on.
Thank you.
Would you like to speak about her situation?
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm pretty sure you're pretty aware of her age.
Yes.
She has a few problems. You know, she has diabetes and issues with her eyes.
Yeah.
She's by herself, and we're working on a plan to try to change the circumstances. But those are the only things I wanted to add if it wasn't already added already.
Yes, and here's something that for you to think about. Again, I know your mom, and in fact, I talked to her on the phone yesterday. She's a great woman, and I feel bad that she's in the situation she's in. Is it something that you could be part of, helping her complete her paperwork at least? You know, in the city of Oneonta, we have a very strict code enforcement system because we have so many rentals and so many student houses. And, you know, her house is in good repair. It just means that there's quite a bit of paperwork. I don't know if that's something that you could be put on as a contact person. Our code enforcement office would probably be willing to do that for you.
Sure.
So that you would know when things were due. Because really
Right.
that happened. I mean, she's just behind. She was just behind because she was in the hospital. And that's very unfortunate. The paperwork was due. Let me just take a look. I got it right here. It was due April 2nd of this year. And she received the letter and signed for it in March of this year. And however, it didn't reach code enforcement office until, I have it. What did I just do with it?
October 20th.
Yeah. Which was really after she'd received the invoice. I'm sure that inspired her to take care of it. So in this case, I don't know that there's anything we can particularly do for her, but I just want to make sure in the future this doesn't happen.
Right. Yes, I would definitely be partial for that as far as like contacts, and let me know everything that's going on so I can relay the messages to her.
Great. One of our board members has her hand up. Just a minute.
Sorry, just have a question. Did this go into the tax roll? Because this is that what this generated, the tax roll, or did you get a bill in October?
No, the code enforcement office is just getting it to us now because they had quite a few of them. And so it actually went to her.
Well, because the invoice dated is September 30th and they didn't receive it till October. So I'm wondering if it went on to the taxes.
No, it wouldn't have gone till November 1st. And she appealed right away. I mean, as soon as she appealed she didn't have to pay that.
In my brain, I'm thinking October 1st was when it rolls. Sorry.
No, November 1st. So with that in mind, John, Joe, I know John or Joe, did you have a chance to go over and speak to Mrs. St. Clair?
Yes, I talked to her and then she called me yesterday. Of course, that was about the snow shoveling. If she could, if I knew anybody, which I was going to ask you, if you knew anybody other than yourself.
I think I found someone to do the snow shoveling.
Okay, good. And then Ray called me today because when I went the other day to give her the Zoom connection, of course, there was an aide there, which I said, well, somehow if she can get Ray involved, maybe he can see this. So he called me and I gave him the instructions. And what I'll do now is actually I have his email address because I just sent a letter out either the other day to Nancy because she's now behind on the other three, electrical, the furnace and the property use. But I can send all that to Ray, and then he can decide whether he's going to try and handle it or if he's going to try and get an agent up here. Or, I mean, we, like you say, we all love Nancy. She's great, but obviously, is catching. Yes, yeah.
It's very hard to be a landlord in the city of Oneonta these days, and we feel for your mom. We really do.
Can Mr. Rogers be the agent for her, even though he's afar? I'm assuming that's why he's on call.
Yes.
Can he not be listed as the agent so that all communication can go through him? So God forbid she is hospitalized again, it doesn't happen again that she's missing what she needs, because obviously there's still tenants.
Yeah, we could do that just here in the office and say all correspondence go to Ray instead of, he wouldn't actually have to be, he couldn't be an agent because he's not really close enough. But because being a family member, obviously, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, let's send him information as if he's an agent so that.
And then if he finds that's not working because of distance, he could, there's enough agent local, there's rental, places here that he could get one of them to help handle it or something. But.
Or even a possible neighbor or something that's, a little bit easier to help her.
Right. And I do want to tell you, Mr. Rogers, you don't have to worry about the snow shoveling from now on. We'll see that done. So you don't have to worry.
Okay.
I mean, that's one thing you don't have to look for someone, but in terms of getting the inspections done and giving access to the property and things like that, it would be helpful if you were at least facilitating that. Your mom is at home at
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah,
so I'm so
absolutely. I'll be available.
Okay, that's great. But so board members, what do you think? This is one of our hard decisions, I think, because on the one hand, the code enforcement office did nothing wrong and has actually followed the code exactly as they should. But on the other hand, here we have a woman who's gone through a really hard time, but that's
wave.
They have some heart in this someplace. That's got to be it.
I make a motion to waive the fees based on extenuating circumstances with her being hospitalized and being so sick and being elderly and quite possibly, not to be rude, but possibly just forgetful with everything else health-wise. Of course, code enforcement did nothing wrong, but we just waived fees for a woman who got divorced. So
I think that's well said. I second that motion.
I know code doesn't like when I do things like that, but sorry, code.
I do.
Tell him, Ray.
I do.
I don't know your mom, but apparently she's lovely. So
She really
that's
is.
not why. I just sympathize with the fact that it doesn't
So do I,
seem like
so do
she's. I'm assuming this is not something that happens typically all the time for her, and it's something recently that's happened with being sick in the past year and a half, I guess, and so that's.
Yep, she's having a rough time, but she's getting better.
Good. That's what we like
She's
to do.
slowly. Yep, she's slowly getting better.
Good.
But this COVID stuff ain't helping. No, I know that.
Additional thoughts or comments, board?
I'm in agreement. I think it's a good idea.
Wish her well.
This is a hard one for me. Partly because, I'm very torn because I really, really like and appreciate Nancy, and I'm so glad her son is stepping up, and everything about this situation helps us get better. But on the other hand, these are administrative fees, and we're kind of violating our own code. So I guess we'll have to vote, won't we?
Yes.
Carrie, go.
Chair Merzick,
No.
Commissioner Palmer,
And what am I voting?
you are
You're
voting to
voting to
waive
waive
the
Yes,
fees.
I think.
Waive the fees, that's what.
Waive the fees based on extenuating circumstances.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, thanks for being with us, Mr. Rogers. We will let your
Happy.
mom know and,
Okay.
and help her get her paperwork in the future. We're glad to know you're on the case.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Very, very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. All right, so 50 East Street.
Steve?
50th Street.
Yes, 50 East Street. As far as we understand it, NICEAG's disconnected the power. The one tenant has apparently wired into what they think is a public smoke detector location to jump power to a unit. We can't get into the place. The owner can't get into the place. The police have said that it's a kind of a on their radar of places that is not good. They dump garbage outside. I mean, we keep cleaning it up, but the landlord is obviously paying the cost of removing the garbage, which doesn't affect the tenant because the tenant's not paying rent. Yeah, it's basically just a giant mess. And we're not just getting complaints from the landlord now, we're getting calls from the other tenants saying that these people basically just kind of are camped out down there.
However, if the electricity is turned off, how are there other tenants in the building?
There's multiple meters. It's like a 4-unit house. So
Oh,
NICEAG turned off one of the meters and they've subsequently jacked power from somewhere else.
oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
So in your estimation, our job would be to, if we decide to declare it unsafe, to order one unit.
Yeah, the goal would be so that we would have some sort of leverage to remove the tenants from that property, at least ticket them for staying there. I told
An
the
apartment
landlord that
number?
they need to pursue an eviction. They're attempting to do that. The courts have obviously been.
And what's the
backing up.
apartment number, Steve?
Let me look. I have it written down. Let's see. I have it.
Well, let's talk, let's keep going while you're looking for it. Based on the testimony of the code enforcement office, this isn't a property that we could visually inspect
Apartment 1.
apartment one
Yep.
ourselves, because the outside of the building, except for the trash, looks okay. I mean, there's nothing structurally wrong with this property. It would be probably, let's see,
Letter I possibly?
D, it would be D. And certainly I. And those are probably the only two that apply.
What's chapter 300, Marge? What does that entail? Is that anything including
That's
electricity?
Zoning
all of
code.
zoning. That's all of zoning.
So would that
So-
count as well?
Yes, it would, because we have in zoning the requirements of taking care of your trash, and
The letter
that-
J.
so yes, that would also.
I know
So
that.
that's a J. So we're talking about H, no, not H, D,
Okay.
I, and J. I suppose we could also have, no, not inadequate facilities for egress.
No.
Yeah. I
Could
mean,
F possibly, is there garbage inside their apartment too?
we can't get inside their
You
apartment.
don't even know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's They're basically just not letting anyone in.
Beg your pardon, what did you say?
I mean, we don't have access to the apartment.
Okay.
Okay, so we're saying D, I, and J. Again, this is basically at the request of the owner of the property. So
Yeah, I
as
mean-
to assist in evicting this particular tenant who is not paying rent, has their electricity turned off, is stealing it from someone else. I mean, they certainly could be arrested for that. But so with that in mind, is that enough for us to declare this property unsafe?
There's no electricity, right? She's stealing it from somebody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, NYSEG, as far as we understand it, has turned the power off. So they have electricity, and the landlord believes it's being provided by the tenants tapping into an electrical box that is part of the fire system. It's part of the smoke detector system.
Part of the smoke detector, even worse.
Oh my God, I'm
I
telling you.
know, that's really terrible.
Because
How
the
many
smoke
of these
detectors
do
are on
we-
a public meter.
Hmm. How many of these do we have to have? This isn't a point system, the unsafe
No.
property checklist, so it could go by one if we so
It
chose.
could go by one. We don't have to have any ones. It's just
Yeah.
whether we, the question always is with a section of the code like this, that we don't unnecessarily declare something unsafe for something that's really marginally unsafe. I mean, I think this qualifies, otherwise it wouldn't be before us, but I think there is a danger because these things, some of them are very specific and other ones are kind of nebulous.
A little vague, yeah.
Right. I mean, they were written a long time ago and they've been very effective, but we just have to ask ourselves that question: is this enough to make it unsafe? And I certainly think the testimony we've received from the code enforcement officer indicates that it is. So based on that, I make a motion that we declare this property unsafe based on D, I, and J of Chapter 92.
I second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
Chair Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Livingston,
Yes.
passes.
Based on that determination, we're going to make an order to vacate apartment 1, repair apartment 1, and that should be about it.
30 days.
And-
I know that
No,
there's
wait a minute.
no
What's the
vacation
length?
now, but
30 days? You say
Yeah,
30?
what do you think, Steve, in
I mean,
terms of?
I would, the owner's very motivated, so I would say 30 days. I mean,
Okay.
we'll notify the unit. We'll post it tomorrow.
Okay, great.
All right.
So within 30 days, vacated and repaired.
Okay,
That's my second motion.
I second it.
second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, go ahead, Carrie.
Chair Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Livingston,
Yes.
passes.
Thank you. Based on this decision, we've had a number of tenant-created unsafe conditions. And we don't, because of COVID, it's very hard to vacate these properties. Do you see any quick remedy for this, Steve?
I mean, ideally, we just start ticketing them for staying.
Is that something that you're willing to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we reached out to the NICOM attorney to verify that we can do that, but that's the intent. I mean,
Okay.
that's the only thing we obviously can't drag people out of their houses, but our next step is just, we would go to these places, we would secure the names of the tenants, and we would just start ticketing them for violating the vacate order.
So you ticket them for violating the vacate order because we can't judges aren't vacating anybody yet. Is that the concept? So that we kind of force them to just leave without having to get to that step of court? Okay.
Well, so I mean, whether the landlord evicts a tenant, the vacate order exists. It tells the tenant they cannot live in the building.
I
So-
mean,
If you have a situation where a tenant is just staying in a building that we've said is unsafe for a legitimate reason, I mean, that's.
yeah.
yeah,
And
I
this
mean,
is
so
what
the
we're
tenant's
finding.
violating the vacate order, whether they've been evicted or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last 4 unsafes have been squatters.
Yes.
And that's a real problem because the owner wants them out. It's unsafe for them to be there, but how do you drag people out of the house? You know, I guess you just make them come to court.
They're protected right now too. It's just in the
Yeah.
brain of, I don't have to
Yeah,
do it because you
it
can't
is.
think of me.
It is.
Sad.
So did we vote, Carrie?
Hands are kind of tied.
All right, good. I couldn't remember. On that same note, we recently declared 8 3rd Street unsafe because of tenant. That was the one with the person living in the basement, the bed set up in the unfinished room. The owner wants us right now. Well, John, why don't you speak on that? Because I don't want to speak. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Sure. Can you hear me okay? Hopefully my audio is working now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the owner, Penny Trimble, initially, we found out about this illegal.
We just lost you, John. Try again.
You still there?
Yeah, you're very faint.
Okay. I may have to go over to Joe's here in a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you just come out
Yeah.
here again?
Yeah, I'll go over to Joe's.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna see him at Joe's desk, right over there. Hey,
Really.
hi, John.
All right. So the owner, Penny Trimble, I was going to say, just, refresh your memory. We found out about this illegal rental property through the fire department. The fire department was very concerned about it and wanted us to check it. So we went up there and did an inspection. At that time, it was in a condition where the fire safety, the minimum requirements weren't being met. So we did declare it unsafe. You guys ordered it vacated. I did a follow-up inspection. I found that the tenant actually took steps to, in my opinion, make it safe. And then beyond that, you guys had ordered a follow-up inspection. And I did that, and I found it in even better condition. Now she has quite a few personal belongings in the house, but as far as fire safety, smoke detectors, fire extinguisher, egress, she has all of that. She does have a problem on the exterior with trash. I had mentioned that to Penny, and I think this was in an effort to help the owner. Which, to be honest with you, has I've received several emails since then. I was considering forwarding to the board.
She sent me an email too.
Okay. Yep. So basically, she's saying that the city is not acting properly in the fact that we are not evicting the tenant, getting her out of the building. I can't do that.
Not our job.
I don't have, I can't honestly say to you that the building is unsafe when I don't believe it is. So when I went back the last time, I told the tenant, I said, you know what, you have just as much or more fire safety requirements met than any other rental within the city. You just have a garbage problem that you need to solve. And I emailed Penny about that, the owner, and I said, we're very close to removing the garbage from your property, and it's going to be a large bill, and you're going to get it. And she emailed me back and said, I'm not authorizing you to do this, and I don't want you to do it. But yeah, that's where we're kind of at the point where she's having trouble evicting because of COVID. And she wants us to, basically evict her using the unsafe method, which, Steve mentioned ticketing and stuff. I don't feel like we can do that. She's taken the proper measures as the tenant to remedy what we asked her to.
So this is a situation where we possibly need to lift the unsafe order. Whether we want to do that or not, considering the trash, or whether we want to wait another month and see how that improves and then possibly do it at our next meeting. So I'm just letting you know that these are getting complicated, and it's not something that we are going to be able to, as a board or the city itself, is able to solve entirely. But it's a growing problem because of many reasons. You can probably all think what they are. So I wanted you to be aware of that. John, I'd like to wait one more month. And then we can put it on the agenda for lifting the unsafe.
So I'm assuming that Penny has them, they have to remove their own garbage. Is that what the problem is?
So, yeah, I mean, the tenant has created the problem, and Penny wants to clean it up, but I guess they're at a point. I know the police have been involved so many times. I don't think she feels comfortable removing it until the tenant is out. Of course, we can send our contractor there and pick it all up, and it goes on the bill
Right.
as a tax lien if she doesn't pay it.
Is there any
I've
attempt at all?
been very tempted to do that.
Yeah, it's not our fault that she can't evict her tenant because of COVID. If that's the only reason that she's looking for us to get rid of her, we were looking for it to be safe. That's the whole reason we saw it, as far as I was concerned when we looked at it. And if it's rectified, I mean, it's not completely rectified. So I agree with Marge waiting another month till the garbage is taken care of. At that point, I would say if it's not, then we should have it removed. Bill the owner, that's her problem. It's her property. I mean, I know Penny, she's great, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not our job to evict people. It's our job to make sure everybody's safe. That's how I look at this, not.
Right, that's right. And that's the extent of our responsibility. I mean, we can accommodate owners up to a point, but other than that, we really have to keep our own integrity here.
Right, we've done what we needed to do, and especially if the tenant has done what she's supposed to do. I mean, for the majority of everything, I guess. I guess if you're willing to work with her, Joe, and just help her get that taken care of. I mean, maybe there's a way we can hook her up with who we use and he'll give her a better rate. I don't know. I know that that's asking a lot, but it's, you can say, hey, this is who we use if there's that. I don't know how much trash there is there, but if this is who the city's going to use, maybe you want to contact him type thing to the tenant.
I gave her the number to Scott Galster. I don't know if she made contact with him or not.
Okay. Well, are there any other items, Steve, John, Joe, that you want to bring to us?
Oh, yeah, actually, I do want to mention something. Just to give you a heads up, our contractor shoveled 55 properties the other day. So you will get appeals. I've looked at every single one of the pictures, as well as Sarah has looked at every single one of the pictures. Obviously, if it makes it to you, we've already looked at it. We've already determined that there was a violation there. Because if there wasn't, we'd just deny the bill. We wouldn't pay our contractor.
Are you talking about the 7-foot snow day or the little bit?
No, the one following that, we got about 4 or 5 inches.
Ice and stuff?
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what happened is in the morning, it was snow. And then as the day warmed up, it turned into like a slush. And then of course the concern is it's going to freeze. It would have frozen overnight and do a hard pack. So 55, that's probably a new record.
John, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow because there's a couple that I know about that I may have to pay for. Just because I know the folks can't afford it. So I'll call you tomorrow because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know which a couple these that you shoveled those.
Yep, you know at least one.
Yeah, right. But meanwhile, we'll look forward. Yeah, we're just getting into snow shoveling, and we've had a couple bad ones. So I won't be surprised if we get bills or if we get appeals. How are we doing on administrative fee appeals?
Actually, besides Jonathan, like I said, a couple of them pulled out, which was good for us. But I think he may be the only one left.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that may be it.
Okay, well, we're putting him on next time. Anyway, thank you all for Happy New Year to all of you. Oh, and Carrie just reminded me that we have to elect a chairman.
Sorry, it's January, organizational meeting time.
And we didn't put that on the agenda. So I'm happy to serve again. I'd like to get one more member.
That's who I was going to nominate.
I nominate Marge.
I'm gonna
I'll
abstain,
second it.
so you better all vote for me. So anyway, I guess we better get that over with.
Okay.
Any discussion or are you ready to go?
We're ready to go.
They all sound pretty sure. Chair Merzick,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
and Commissioner Levinson.
Thank you all for your confidence in me. Hopefully we'll have another good year, but maybe we can see each other in person. So anyway, thanks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
See you in a month.
To everyone. To everyone.
All right.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Carrie, for all the work you do. And also John, Joe, and Steve, thank you very, very much.
I actually, before we leave, I know you all want to leave, sorry. That property that Mark was really worried about, I don't know if I missed it in the beginning. Did we get anything since then or?
No, he's gotten his blighted
Right.
fine. He didn't like it because he said, well, I was under orders, so I shouldn't have had to do it. And like, no, you did. So he's blighted. We're going to monitor the property to make sure the exterior is cleaned up at all times, and he'll get bills for that. I understand he might be selling his properties, which would be good.
Or not, but we hope.
Or
it's
not.
good.
Oh, yeah, I know. You just never know. It's a hard time.
We need a good landlord.
Yeah, Mark, we're sorry we can't do more for 38 Cherry Street, but the other one is the tree also on Cherry Street. Still there.
Yeah, so I mean that's the land bank. I'm now on the land bank, so I'm going to try to figure out how to get that dealt with.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. We need to honor those neighbors. So that's our story. Hope everybody's well, and now we are going to say goodbye. So bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Have a great
Bye,
evening.
everybody.
Thank you.